Александер Вінніков, голова представництва НАТО в Україні. Запрошую вас до слова. Прошу.
Дуже дякую вам. Шановні народні депутати, шановні колеги, шановні пані та панове. Я дуже дякую організаторам цього саміту за це запрошення і вважаю за честь взяти участь у такому важливому заході. Жінки, мир та безпека – це надзвичайно важлива тема на глобальному порядку денному. І це також пріоритет для Північноатлантичного альянсу. Ця тема ще більш важлива для країн, які перебувають у стані війни чи збройного конфлікту. Адже військові дії диспропорційно впливають, зокрема, на жінок та дівчат. Сьогодні я хотів би поділитися досвідом НАТО та країн альянсу і зупинитися на трьох аспектах. Перше, що НАТО робить для просування порядку денного жінки, мир та безпека. Друге, якими є наші базові принципи у дотриманні гендерної рівності. І третє, гендерна складова в операціях НАТО. З вашого дозволу я також продовжу свій виступ англійською мовою, офіційною мовою альянсу. So my first point is about the Women, Peace and Security agenda in NATO. The Women, Peace and Security mandate is in fact fundamental to NATO's common values of individual liberty, democracy, human rights and obligations under the United Nations Charter. These are the principles that we have been committed to since the creation of the alliance almost 70 years ago. And in line with the UN Security Council resolutions on women, peace and security, NATO aims to address gender inequality and integrate these priorities through the alliance's three core tasks, which are collective defense, crisis management, and cooperative security. NATO allies and NATO partners, including Ukraine, launched work in this area in 2007 with the adoption of a specific policy to support implementation of the UN Security Council resolutions on women, peace and security. Since then, the policy has been regularly updated to reflect the evolving international context, and related action plans have strengthened implementation as more countries from around the globe have become associated with our efforts. At the most recent summit of NATO in Brussels this past July, NATO leaders endorsed a revised Women, Peace and Security policy and action plan. And this renewed policy is based on the guiding principles which we call the three I's, the three letters I, which stand for integration, inclusiveness, and integrity. And let me briefly elaborate on each of these. Integration recognizes that women and men are affected by each policy, program, and project in a different manner. Our goal is to make sure that gender equality is considered an integral part of NATO policies, programs, and projects, which are guided by effective policies to mainstream the gender aspect. Secondly, inclusiveness. This aims to dismantle all existing barriers which stand in the way of the full implementation of the Women, Peace and Security agenda in NATO and in our armed forces. We plan to do so by promoting an increased representation of women across NATO and in national forces to enhance our operational effectiveness and success. And in this area, I'm happy to say that NATO has achieved some important progress. For example, in 85% of NATO member states, all positions in the armed forces are now open to women. Also, nearly a quarter of NATO's current defense ministers are women, and over 1/3 of current allied ambassadors to NATO who make decisions around the table are women. We're also seeing greater numbers of women in leadership positions, including in our military structures. We have a female lieutenant general commanding the NATO Defense College in Rome. We have a female major general commanding NATO's AWACS force, which is our airborne warning and control system. And we have a female brigadier general serving as the senior military representative of NATO in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And last but not least, our deputy secretary general is the first woman to take on this important role in the alliance. But of course, all of these numbers are just the beginning, and more needs to be done. We therefore encourage nations to deploy more women on NATO-led operations and missions, as there is still a significant discrepancy between the proportion of women serving in the armed forces and those that are deployed on operations. And as my colleague said, gender balance is not just the right thing to do, it is also the smart thing to do. Because more gender balance results in better decisions, better operations, and overall a better organization. Research indeed shows that women who participate in peace processes, in case they participate in a meaningful way, that the resulting agreements are much more likely to stick. And the figures of 35% are something that the International Peace Institute has concluded. And this brings me to the third I, integrity. Here we wish to address the systemic inequalities that may hamper fair and equal treatment of women and men. Our objective is to enhance accountability with the intent of increasing awareness and implementation of the Women, Peace and Security agenda, and to promote the highest standards of professional and personal conduct within the NATO civilian and military structures. And as our Deputy Secretary General recently said, integration, inclusiveness, and integrity will be our watchwords as we move forward with our agenda to make gender equality an everyday reality for women and girls everywhere. My third and final point is about a gender perspective in operations. As I said, based on the principles mentioned, the Alliance is actively seeking to incorporate gender perspectives within all aspects of our operations, the planning, execution, and evaluation. It's also an important focus in our cooperation with partner countries, both in the preparation of troops that they will deploy on NATO-led operations, as well as in wider cooperation seeking to help with the building of resilient defense institutions. For example, our authorities are keen to ensure that gender advisors are deployed as a matter of course within the command groups, that women are employed at all levels in NATO-led operations, and that both troops and commanders have undergone gender training necessary for their role and level of responsibility. We have nominated gender advisors at both our strategic commands, the Allied Command Operations and the Allied Command Transformation. And these gender advisors support commanders to ensure that gender perspectives are integrated into all aspects of our operation.
Пане Александре,
I will speed up.
надзвичайно дуже цікаво. Час.
Так.
Я прошу вас.
So to conclude, I would like to underline that for NATO, equal participation means more resilient societies, more effective forces, and lasting peace. And not only do we look at our own member states, but we also assist our partners in sharing our best practices and lessons learned. And I'll be happy to conclude here and very much look forward to our discussion, which may include our cooperation with Ukraine in particular. Дуже дякую за увагу.